owners Fuad Kochinwala, Fahim Ibrahim, and Dr. Sanjeev. Please give them a big round of applause. And then we have a new entry for 2019 Houston Premier League, Houston Stallions, owned by Fawad Sarwar. We're gonna do the drawings for who goes first. This is a snake draft, and we're gonna have Munir Majid come here in a few minutes and talk about the draft rules. The order of picking these draft numbers will be, this is where the punctuality matters. Whoever came first gets to pick first. So Amir Ahmed will pick first. If you would please come here and pick your draft number, and then we'll have Siddesh, then Majid, and then lastly Houston Stallions. So please, if you could come and pick up your... So Houston Stars will pick number 2. That's the draft. Now we'd like to have Siddesh or someone from the Prime Gladiators come up and pick up their draft order. Alright, and Prime Gladiators will be picking first. They've got the first. And now I'd like to request somebody from the UMMC Night Riders table to come up and pick up the draft order. So UMMC Night Riders will pick 4th. So just to recap, we have Prime Gladiators as pick 1, Houston Stars will pick 2, Houston Stallions will pick 3, and then UMMC Night Riders will pick 4. Now, we have a wonderful team behind this event. Every year, a lot of volunteers come in, and I'd like to introduce some of these people who work tirelessly without any money, spend a lot of time, get a lot of flack at home with their wives and significant others. So please, I'd like to introduce firstly Munir Majid, who's the backbone of Punch, and he's been doing a fantastic job for Houston Premier League. Then we have the founding member, Ahmed Butt, who always seems to be that he's very busy, but I don't know exactly what he does, but he does a lot of things. Please give him a big round of applause. Then we have another founding member who's sitting at the Prime Gladiators table, Siddesh Patari. Does a fantastic job. Good job, Siddesh. Please give him a big round of applause. This year we've added a couple of more members to our team. Saud, who's sitting right next to Munir, he's working on our draft software, which you can see projected right here on the big screen. Please welcome him with your round of applause. And then we have our senior citizen, over 65, Mr. Arpan Madle, who's going to keep us in check this year. He's keeping the tab of the final roster and the whiteboard, Mr. Arpan Madle. And then just for today, we have some extended help from Mr. Mike Fazal. He's on the whiteboard. He's good with numbers, so he's going to just put the numbers on our whiteboard. Thank you. So let's start. As Saud and the team is working on putting the draft order together, I'd like to invite owners here just one by one to just take a minute, 60 seconds and talk a little bit about. This is going live again on our YouTube channel. If you could search Houston Premier League 2019, you'll see this live. So I'd like to invite Mr. Amir to come here and have a word with us. As you remember, Amir came in last year as a new team, and we didn't think much of his team because new guy coming from Division 3. In fact, we used him as a singer on our gala night, if you can remember, and he sang beautifully without the music. And then he surprised us during the tournament by winning. Amir, what's in store for this year?
First of all, thank you very much for Punch. They give us a chance again, and that wonderful tournament. Last year we have a very good experience, and I'm really enjoyed last year, and I hope same thing this year as well.
Any surprises with your outside players this year? Any test players, domestic player from Pakistan, West Indies, Bangladesh?
I have some players, but that surprise I give in the ground.
Thank you much. I see you have your lucky mascots, Taha, sitting there, so good luck with this year. Next, I'd like to invite the captain of UMMC Night Riders, Majid Rizvi, to come up here and have a word.
स्टार्स 2 है और स्टैलियंस 3 है।
Majid, you were the runner-up last year. You had the best team on paper, but you know, cricket is anybody's game on a given day. You lost. What are your thoughts about this year and this year's preparation?
Again, first of all, I want to thank everybody for getting this show together. HPL has been successful over the past, I would say, 6+ years. For this year, last year, yes, we had a tough loss in the finals, but again, it's cricket. What happened. We learn from the mistakes and move on. But this year, we're again looking forward for some competitive cricket and try to put a good team together.
Now, this year we're playing at the beautiful Musa Stadium, which provides a different challenge with the turf wicket. Now, have you made any plans or strategy around that?
No, pretty much things are going to be the same. The ground is beautiful, pitch is going to be hopefully very nice. So, I mean, all the players have pretty much played at Musa Stadium, so I don't think there should be much surprises.
All right, good luck for this year. Thank you so much. Next, I'd like to ask Siddesh and or Dr. Sanjeev, who are just signaling at each other to come here and have a word with us. Now I wanted to ask this question to Siddesh, but I know you can answer on his behalf. What are you doing this year to break the curse? Because it's been 5 years, you've tried everything. What's different this year?
I think we're just going to stick to what we've been doing so far. We're just going to play the best cricket that we can on a given day. And so let's see, you know, how it goes. I mean, we're just going to put our best foot forward and go with it.
Do you have any international players coming in this year like last year?
We may have a few surprises, so I think we'll just keep it for the game day.
Thank you very much. It's odd that everybody's keeping a surprise with their outside players. Well, we'll find out in about 4 weeks' time. Now we're going to have our new entry, Houston Stallions, to please come up here. Faraz and or Amr to have a word with us. Amr, welcome to Houston Premier League. This is your first year. What are your thoughts about the tournament so far, as you've played in this tournament before and now as a captain and or owner of the team?
I guess I don't know who's the captain, but yes, it's pretty exciting tournament for the past 3-4 years, and it's keep growing every year. So we're looking forward to this year. Let's see how we ended up.
What about your surprises about outside players?
Actually, we haven't decided yet, but hopefully we will discuss pretty soon.
Good luck for this year. Thank you so much. There you have it. We have the 4 teams sitting here. Now I'm going to ask Mr. Munir Majid to come here and go over the draft rules before we can proceed with the draft. Munir Majid, can you please come here? Thank you.
Thank you, Imani bhai. Always so charming, always has a joke to crack. So, based on last year, when we were live, there were a couple of feedbacks from the audience that they were not able to get a holistic picture of what's going on at the draft. And we really had to keep texting people, keep posting on Facebook that this team picked this player. So for this year, we have made some advancements to the way we are hosting the draft. We have come up with a software. So all teams are set up in the software. You can see the holistic picture. Knight Riders, Stallions, Stars, Prime, Gladiators. All 4 teams are on there. Now what's happening is all the teams are assigned 14 draft picks. That means 14, 14, 14, 14, 56 players would be picked at the draft today. In total, we got about 200 entries, so 1/4 of the players would make the HPL. Out of the 14, 11 are local players and 3 are the mandatory under 19s you need to pick. Out of the 11 local players, you have already pre-drafted 3 players each. Now, Arpan Bhai right there, he is the treasurer, so to say. He's keeping every team's accounts. You're starting with 10,000 coins, 10,000 HPL coins per team. Within that 10,000 coins, you're supposed to pick your 11 players. The under 19s are free of cost. It does not matter where the under 19 are from, Houston or Austin or Dallas, anywhere in the country, they are free for you. I think if I've gone through the entire log of the draft, we have about 18 to 19 under 19s, so you'll end up picking 12 of them today. After each draft round, Arpan Bhai right here would announce the balance you have left out of your budget of 10,000 credits. So on the whiteboard, Mike Fuzzle, because he's very good with numbers and dollars, we have him keeping the balance for that little thing right there. Now the other thing we also want to do is we will still keep the draft logistics same as last year. You all have a set of sticky notes and a pen in front of you. On your list, you have the entire, I think, roster of 180 some names which came in through the draft. When it's your turn, Saud is going to turn on the clock, which has the placeholder for your team. So let's say Sadesh from Gladiators is picking, the clock would start. Ideally, we want to get your input in within the first 3 minutes. We don't want this to drag too long, so you'll have 3 minutes to close your draft pick. You'll write the player ID and the player name, and in braces you'll write the category. So for instance, Majid Rizvi, number 12, in brackets platinum. So that's the feedback we are looking for from you. Once we receive that sticky note, it will go to Saud, and on your behalf, Saud will pick Majid Rizvi for that particular team. One other thing is this is a snake draft. So how the snake draft goes is the order starts from 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4, 3, 2, 1, then 1, 2, 3, 4. Since we wanted everyone to familiarize with the draft and get a hold of how this thing is going to work, the first 3 rounds are just a dry run, where we will use your pre-drafted players to actually put them on those cards over there. So that everyone will take about 5 to 7 minutes to go through the first 3 players for each team. But by that time, we'll have a decent idea of what's going on in the system. Now, if you look at the even to odd logistics, what's going to happen is the order 1, 2, 3, 4, round 2 is 4, 3, 2, 1, then 1, 2, 3, 4. So by the time we actually get to today's draft, the order would be reversed because 4th is picking first and we don't want that. We want the first one to pick. So what Saud has done is he has flipped the order right now for draft 1. For round 1, the order is flipped so that by the time we get to round 4, the team that is supposed to pick first is picking first. Now, that part I think is pretty clear. Next up is your extra budget. As soon as you run out of 10,000 credits, my friend Mike, who's good with numbers, you all know, he'll give you a shout that you're done. So I think you've been on the website, you've read that you can buy 5 credits for $1 each. You can buy them in minimum blocks of $100. So for $100, you can get an extra block of 500 credits. So that's how this goes. I think pretty straightforward. We've got this covered. So I'll go and start manning the camera and Saud, set with Saud for the logistics. And this over to Himani bhai.
Thank you so much, Munir. Thank you so much, Munir. I hope everybody's clear about the rules now. As Munir mentioned, we're going to go through the pre-draft players first. This should take, no more than 5 minutes, and you're not going to get your 3 minute per pick for these first 3 players. So I'm going to start with the.
And even for those free picks, if the same thing can follow the sticky pad with the name and the numbers. This is a dry run for everybody, right?
Okay, so Arpan Bhai brought a very good point. Because this is a dry run, we want to mimic how the actual draft can happen. So please write down your first 3 picks, the pre-drafted player with the player number and the player first name and last name, so that we can hand it to Arpan Bhai to maintain the roster.
First
Yeah,
each
all 3 on
one.
for the first 3 round is fine. Just mention the category, first class name, and there's a player ID on the first row. That's what I want.
Okay, that would work. If you can just.
Sorry to interrupt. There's a quick update. 2 players pulled out of the draft this morning, Hamza Bangash and Usman Rafiq. So just cross them out on your list. Thanks.
And in addition to those 2 players, there was one late entry which we weren't able to put it on the sheet, but I think I added that on in writing on the last page, and that's Fawad Server in silver category. If you don't have it, just please make sure you have it. Fawad Server is added as a silver player, And the two players that pulled out are Usman Rafiq and Hamza Bangash. So we'll start with our very first pick. Let the excitement begin. So we're gonna have the very first pick, Mr. Siddesh Patare. Please have somebody come in here and hand me the sticky.
First three names will be there. Right? The three names for the gladiators. Number and name you tell.
So they have picked the first three picks of Siddesh Patare, ID number 2.
And this is category platinum, right?
Yes. Siddesh Patare, the captain of Prime Gladiators, a platinum category player, and the captain, so obviously he's going to be his first choice. And we'll do it in one by one so that you can order, because this is a draft.
Yeah, because we want to run.
We want to run it as a draft, so I'll hold this. But so Siddesh Patare is the first pick. Moving on to the second pick from Houston Stars. Can one of you please come over here and hand me the...
Imani bhai, we are starting 4-3-2-1. So Night Riders was the first pick.
Okay. Night Riders, can you please come up and give me your picks? And their first pick is their pre-drafted player, ID 137, Jan Isar Khan. He's an elite player, recently played for the US national team, still part of the plans of US cricket, Jan Isar Khan. And you can see on the board as Saud is making these picks, our software, draft software at work, Jan Isar Khan, rightfully placed in the UMMC Night Riders box. Then we have, the next pick is with Houston Stallions. Can you please come up? Houston Stallion picks one of their draft players, Raj Singh, ID 114, gold category, Raj Singh. Now we'll have the Houston Stars come up and pick up their... So Houston Stars, with their first pick, will pick Jaskaran Malhotra. 175, Jaskaran Malhotra, elite category player.
What's the number, please?
175.
Thank you. Got it.
And then we'll move to the Prime Gladiators and their first pick, Siddesh Patare.
ID number 2, right?
ID number 2.
मैं बनता. Gladiators again. Gladiators. Okay.
And with the snake draft going backwards, the Prime Gladiators pick Cheyenne Jahangir, 129, player ID 129 as their second player.
This is gold,
Platinum. 129. Now we'll have Houston Stars come back with their second pick, as they've decided to put each player on their own sticky. And they gave up and they finally gave me the last two names. It's too much walking for one guy. With their second pick, they've picked ID 143, Taha Sayyed, gold category player. Taha Sayyed, 143, gold category player. As I'm announcing the names, Please give them a big round of applause. They're not playing or scoring against you, so you can applaud them right now. They can be your fierce competitors on the field, but today at CRICBASE, they're all friends.
Category goals, right?
Yes, category goal. And next up, Houston Stallions, and they have picked Ehsan Shah, ID 115115, gold category player, Ehsan Shah. Again, a reminder, please give them up. Thank you, Mr. Brand Ambassador Saki Muhammad.
115, right?
115. Quick check on with our players here. Is Ehsan Shah gold or silver? Because here it says gold.
I think it was gold.
No, he's not in gold.
Okay, so correction, Ehsan Shah is silver category player. Ehsan Shah, silver category player. It's important to categorize them because after these first 3 rounds, we'll update with what the Cric coins balance is so every team can know how much points they have to work with and how much money they brought to buy additional players. And with UMMC Knight Riders, their second pick is Jawad Khalid, gold 141. And again, I want to check with Ahmed, but is Jawad Khalid really gold or bronze?
Gold. It is gold, man.
Oh, he's gold. Okay. Old is gold. He's the oldest gold kind of person.
Gold gem.
So Jawad Khalid, gold player. Here's where I admire these friendships that Majid has. Wonderful player. This is all good fun. And then again, going back with UMMC Knight Riders, their star player, their captain, platinum player, ID 106, Majid Rizvi. The next pick in the last pre-draft round for Houston Stallions, they have picked Faraz Sheikh, sitting right here, ID 122, and it's showing silver. Again, I just wanted to double check his category, Faraz Sheikh, because on the screen it's showing gold, but I think he just underrated himself as a player.
Faraz Sheikh is gold.
Faraz Sheikh is gold, okay. Faraz Sheikh, ID 122, gold category player. And then for Houston Stars, their last pick of this pre-draft round is player ID number 81, Adnan Haroon. He's a bronze category player, Adnan Haroon. And then finally, moving on to Prime Gladiators, their last pick of the pre-draft round is Prashant Manne, ID 58, Platinum category player. Prashant Manne, 58. So now we've done with the first pre-draft, which was supposed to be a dry run to make sure that how the software works. Now we can ask Mr. Arpan Madele to give us the point balance.
Okay, so I'll go in the order of the picks. So Gladiator has a balance of 4,000.
the mic.
So Gladiators with the remaining balance of 4,000 Cric coins. 4,000 Cric coins, Prime Gladiators.
Houston Stars 5,500.
Houston Stars have 5,500 remaining coins. I should say coins, crick coins. 5,500 remaining coins.
Stallions 6,000.
Houston Stallions have 6,000 crick coins remaining for the remaining draft. 6,000 crick coins.
And UMCC Night Riders 4,000.
And UMMC Riders have 4,000 crick coins left. Alright, let's now, so this, as the draft is done, we're gonna go with our first pick and get the draft ready. So, any final thoughts before we move on, Munir?
No, I think we're good.
Alright, you guys have done an excellent job so far. Great picks. All teams are shaping up to be really good teams, and it's already exciting to see that 4 teams are putting some thought in this player picking. And hopefully we have some very, very good players left. Platinum, gold, silver, bronze, and some surprises. So let's hope, and good luck to all the teams with their remaining picks. Again, give yourselves a big round of applause. Thank you very much. Let's move on with our first pick. And for each round, we have 3 minutes to pick for each team. So we have number 1 pick, Prime Gladiators, on the clock, and without taking any time, barely a few seconds, they have made their first pick, and they have picked our numbers and dollars guy, player ID 80, silver category, Mike Ahmed aka Mike Fuzzle.
Right? 80, right? Number is 80.
So moving on, the Houston Stars on the clock, and this is fantastic. This is the kudos to all the team for doing their homework. You have 3 minutes and you're taking barely a few seconds. So with their second pick, they have picked a gold category player, ID 171, Dervesh Ali, a very fine all-rounder. Dervesh Ali. With the T20 cricket, I'm seeing the trend that everybody's going for all-rounders. They need a little bit of batting, a little bit of bowling, but what about the fielding? And that's not a jibe at Dervesh or Ahmed, I'm just posing a question for every team. So with that, Houston Stallions is on the clock. Houston Stallions. And Houston Stallions have picked player ID 73, Haris Latif, gold category player. Haris Latif, ID 73, gold category player.
Haris Qureshi, is that right? Thank you.
And with that, we have UMMC Night Riders with their first pick of the first round, and they have picked a platinum player, ID 14 or 16, bad handwriting, but Jermaine, a very fine left arm spinner. Jermaine.
So this finishes the first round, and I'll call out the balances. Please pay attention. Gladiators 3,000.
So Gladiators have 3,000 crick coins remaining. 3,000 crick coins.
Houston Star 4,000.
Houston Stars have 4,000 crick coins left.
Stallions 4,500.
Houston Stallions with 4,500 coins left. Houston Stallions 4,500.
For us. And then UMMC Night Riders 2,000.
And UMMC Night Riders 2,000. Going out fast, doesn't it, Majid? Alright, we'll start the second round with UMMC Knight Riders. It's fun to pick two players in one shot, isn't it? I got a agreeing not by Mr. Brand Ambassador Saki Mohammed. It's okay if I call you Brand Ambassador, just for today. And they have picked an under 19 player, Majid Zubair, ID 150. A great pick, Majid Zubair, under 19. Also got selected for the US under 19 squad right now, Majid Zubair. We'll move on to the next pick, Houston Stallions. So Houston Stallions taking their time, which is good. I think as Ikra walked in, he caused a lot of confusion. Everybody's familiar with Ikra in HPL context. If not, then meet me after this live session, I'll tell you. So they have picked Amr Abbasi, the gentleman sitting on their table, ID 118. Amr Abbasi. He's a silver category player, Amr Abbasi.
What's the number again?
118 is the ID.
911.
Or 911 is my. So can you scroll down? Thank you. Next we have Houston Stars up on the clock. And I see some disagreements between Amir and Taha, and seemed like Amir gave in. And they have picked a platinum player, ID 165, a great fast bowler, Shuja Naqvi, who's sitting right here, Shuja, 165 ID, platinum player. And then we'll move on to Prime Gladiators with their next pick. Prime Gladiators within their Gladiators uniforms. Representing the national colors of Bangladesh. Do we have a clock on this screen?
Still 59 seconds.
No, that's not left, that's the time consumed. It's going up. The time is not a snake draft, it only goes up. And with their pick, Prime Gladiators have picked player ID 23, Sankrit Patula. Sankrit, ID 23.
Which category?
Sankrit is a gold category player.
151 ID.
Alright, so we have come to an end of another round. I'll call out the balances.
Okay, before we move on to the next round and after we announce the points, we'll take like a 2-minute break. Maybe we need to spice up the draft and have a couple of team members come up and talk, I guess for lack of a better word, talk good about the team and bad about the other teams. So what's the point balance, Mr. Urban?
So Prime Gladiators 1,500.
Prime Gladiators with 1,500 points remaining.
Houston Stars 2,000.
Houston Stars 2,000 points remaining.
Stallions 3,500.
Houston Stallions 3,500.
Knight Riders 2,000.
And Knight Riders with 2,000. So let's take a 2-minute pause and we'll come back to the next round. You can help yourselves with some refreshments in the back.
सखी भाई आपसे तो बात करनी आपने क्या?
So we took a little pause to spice things up a bit because it seems the financial pressures of sticking within the 10K budget is really getting the better of you all. You have been very quiet. So just catching this guy off guard, I would like to invite Siddhesh Padhare to come up and just have a couple of words with us. So, Siddhesh, since the inception of the HPL, now this is the edition 5, and pardon me if I'm going to be a little nasty, but Gladiators have been part of every single year. When is the championship coming? That's the question everyone wants to know.
We hope every year. We always end up in the league stage as number 1 for the past 2 years. Playoff have been our, I think, bad luck, but we are hoping to change it this year, as always, and I hope we get the championship this year.
Gladiators, I think, happen to be the RCB of Houston Premier League. The most glamorous players, the most expensive team, but nothing to show for it. I'm just pulling his leg, he's a good friend. So, Siddhesh, the other thing I really want to ask you is, now, I really want your inside information. I was sending this email a couple of days ago that we have these teams logged in and these are the team owners and these are the sponsors. I tend to run out of space in my email and even on the Facebook post when I come to Gladiators. Now, just walk us through the ownership of Gladiators and also the sponsors. And apart from that, I want to know your secret. How do you manage to score so many sponsors? What's the inside information? What's the beef?
So, from the owner's standpoint, it's always been our base, Fadi Bhai, Dr. Sanjeev and Fahim. This year we had Astros Linen coming in a big sponsor owner category, and we've kept our team the same, where we give maximum social attention to our sponsors. So that's where I'm able to get those sponsorship for the team, and at least I'm glad you called us RCB, but because at least we are flamboyant on the ground. So that's something the sponsors like, and but yeah, inshallah this year we'll have the championship with us.
Siddhesh, one last thing. I'll let you go. I know you've been staring at the samosas and the good stuff over there for some time. One last thing I want to ask you, and this is important to us, the jokes and the puns apart. You have been a franchise that the HPL and Punch Body every year can count on. Whenever we start planning for the HPL, we know that guys like you, Majid and Stars, these guys are there. We have Stallions this year coming in for the first time. So all the potential team owners and players who are listening in, what's the message for them, that what keeps Gladiators in the HPL? Why do you keep coming back, and what's the fun, or what do you get out of it?
I'll actually refer something which our mentor and Sushil, he had mentioned 3 years back, that as a franchise we want to look to be patient and make sure to give our guys on the field the best opportunity to play high level of cricket. Everyone knows we are not going to make any big dollars out of here, but the motto which he has been able to convey to all our owners, that makes owners like Fadi Bhai, Fahim and Dr. Sanjeev just come back to us and believe in us that we're going to do things right and give the platform like this year to the under-19 guys and all the other players playing for Gladiators.
All right, Siddhesh, thank you so much. All the best to the Gladiators, and a big thanks to all the things you do for Punch Body and the HPL behind the scenes. Always appreciate that. Now, I see Sakhi Bhai has taken to the nets of CRICBASE and he's rolling his arm over. He's Shane Warne-esque, if I must say. Beautiful leg spinners, beautiful flight. But I'm going to call Sakhi Bhai upon the mic and get a couple of words from him. He happens to be the mentor brand ambassador for UMMC Night Riders this year. So give it up for Saki Bhai for coming over. And Saki Bhai, so we had the Sparks franchise last year, and you know, Night Riders and Sparks, they're a very closely knit group. So this year you just decided to have one franchise and you know just bring up Night Riders. What's the feel within the camp and what do you guys expect of this year's HPL?
I think like last year, having two teams, we were divided. And one of you want to see this team, another team, and we felt like there was no fun. You cannot be going to HPL, be divided, and don't enjoy each other's game. So we made the decision that we're going to go as one. It's not about the team, we want to enjoy the game. Whatever we're playing, we want to enjoy the game. So I think this is the right decision for us.
Awesome. And Night Riders were such a strong franchise, and the players like Nkrumah Bonner, Naveen Stewart, Sunny Sohal, they come to mind right away. They really took the HPL by storm, so we hope that they're coming up with such big names this year too. Now, Saki Bhai, the Houston Premier League is coming back to the Musa Cricket Stadium this year. And that's a big thing for us. We would be at a prime facility, and given that we are playing in peak summer month of July and we are playing 4 days back to back, it's a big deal for Houston players to be able to have air-conditioned pavilions, and we can set up a quality broadcast over there. So the association of Musa Cricket Stadium with just local Houston cricket and HPL coming back over there, what do you have to say about this connection, and what do you feel of, what do you expect out of the HPL this year?
I think playing at a facility like this one is helpful, especially when you broadcast this one and people from out of Houston watching that. It sends a good signal, and I hope everybody enjoys that.
Perfect, Saki Bhai. And also, I think we're pretty pleased to announce, and as all of you can see, Houston was always one of the primest hub of cricket in the country, but we never had an indoor facility, and we had so much weather changes, and the way the weather fluctuates from rain to heat, we just change pretty frequently. So now, Saki Bhai, that we have a quality indoor facility, what are your thoughts? How can this be a game changer for Houston cricket down the line?
I think this is a great initiative, and when you look at this one, Houston is such a big place, big region. I think we will see next 4 or 5 years more than one. So at least we need something like this one, at least 4 or 5 different spots, different areas covering, so it can cover. So I think this is what we needed, especially a lot of rain happens, and as long as we're gonna get some baseball players over here too, then we try to work with both sports. At the same time, I want to ask all these owners over here. I know everybody has the names for the stars they have for outside players. I think it's good for everyone to disclose that over here to bring the value so people get interested. And you don't get anything by hiding those names. So if we have decided, I think it's good to announce those.
That's, I think, very good suggestion, because right now, this is the only time slot where we have so much of an audience. Now, the next time so many people would be tuned into the Houston Premier League would be the inaugural day on 4th of July. So while we have the audience, we have people watching us, if any franchise wants to volunteer and come up and announce a couple of names, the mic is yours. And Saki Bhai, thank you so much. You've got some.
I think what we need to do once all the draft is done, at their stage we go one by one to each franchise and let them announce that. I think that time we should record it as a separate recording so we can share that. It will just bring value to this one. So this is a humble request. If everyone is okay, please go ahead and do this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Saki Bhai. Thank you for all the advice. I think everyone is back on their tables after a round of chai and samosas and cookies. Thank you to Sudesh and Bhatt. I'll pass this back on to Mustafa Himani. And we'll start by just reviewing what we have so far on the draft board and go on to round 6 from there. Himani.
All right, before we resume our draft, just to recap what each team has picked, I'll just go quickly. For UMMC Night Riders, they have picked so far Janisar Khan, Jawad Khalid, Majid Rizvi, Jermaine Levine, and Majid Zubair. That's their team so far. For Houston Stallions, they have picked Raj Singh, Ehsan Shah, Faraz Sheikh, Haris Qureshi, and Amr Abbasi. Don't they all play for Stallions? Okay, they do, yes. All right. And then for Houston Stars, they have picked Jaskaran Malhotra, Taha Sayyid, Adnan Haroon, Darvesh Ali, and Shuja Naqvi. And for Prime Gladiators, they have picked Siddesh Patare, Shayan Jahangir, Prashant Manne, Ahmad Mike Fazal, and Sankrit Batula. That's the team so far. So before we proceed, we've got some great interviews with Siddesh and Sakibai, and one of the ideas that came up as I was listening, it'd probably be a good idea to create more excitement and buzz to have some of the owners announce their outside players on air, I guess online. It just creates the excitement a little bit more, and I mean, I guess if you announce it, it's not gonna hurt anything, but it's gonna create more excitement among the owners, and then to get competitive, and even for the audience who are watching us live to see what quality of players they might be playing alongside or playing against. So just think about it. After the draft, we can do a small session where all the owners / captains can come forward and announce maybe some of their outside players that they have locked for the 2019 Houston Premier League edition.
And just a quick message for the folks who are watching us live on YouTube and Facebook right now. We have 28 people tuned in. For a league as big as Houston, I think very soon we can go up to 50 and maybe touch 100. So if all of you watching and all the folks here, you start sharing the YouTube live link, if we hit 50, Siddesh is going to come and announce an outside player.
All right, so let's start with our draft. The first, after the break, up on the clock is Prime Gladiators. They've got plenty of time in the break to think about their next pick. And as Ankit walks slowly with their pick, and they have picked a fine leg spinner, goal category ID 55, Rizwan Rajani. Rizwan Rajani, ID 55, goal player. Rizwan is an emerging leg spinner, did really good in the tournament that when the Southern California team was visiting here, and also with the bat, and then also in the Indo-Pak match where he took key wickets, bowling first up in the T20 in the power play. So a good pick for Prime Gladiators. Moving on to the next pick, we'll have Houston Stars come up. As the excitement continues for people who are still waiting for their names to be called. And the one guy who's going to be excited that his name is about to be called is ID 78, silver category player, Abdul Rahim Khan. A very good all-rounder, and I just want to confirm with our volunteers here that is Abdul Rahim Khan silver or gold? Gold. He's gold. He's silver. He's silver player. So. Moving on to the next pick for Houston Stallions. Is it going to be another Stallions player or someone from the outside? The excitement continues. Is it the guy who's hiding behind the chairs? And certainly it is player ID 166, Ikra Faruqi. Is Ikra a gold player? Don't we do these ratings based on the last HPL? What did Ikra do last HPL? He was he was an outside player, the real outsider player. It's all in good fun that Ikra understands. Thanks, HPL. You're welcome. And next we'll go with UMMC Night Riders. They've got back-to-back picks. The beauty of the snake draft, if you're first or fourth, you get 2 back-to-back picks, and they're on the clock right now. That's the disadvantage of sitting on the side chair. You have to walk. Maybe you should switch with Abdul. And they have picked player ID 49, a bronze player, and I'll just ask Ahmed to check his status. Alif Maridia, ID 49. Alif Maridia plays for Triggers Titans. And we got the confirmation he is a silver player. So let's go through the remaining balances after this round.
Alright, so Prime Gladiators 0.
So Prime Gladiators, the first team to run out of points. So here's where the checkbooks come out for Punch and for the remaining teams, because all this money goes into the prize pool. So the faster they burn, the better for HPL. Congratulations, Siddesh. I expected this from you with the sponsors that you have.
Houston Stars 1000.
Houston Stars with 1,000 remaining points, and hopefully they'll burn out in this round. We're expecting and hoping that they would.
Stallions 2000.
Stallions with 2,000 remaining points. I don't know if we have enough Stallion players left in the draft worth 2,000 points after these 6 already picked.
And UMMC Night Riders 1000.
And UMMC Night Riders with 1,000 points. So again, Prime Gladiators, the first team to run out of points. So let's start with the next round again. UMMC Night Riders. And they have picked ID 130T silver category player Ali Rana. Ali Rana 130, silver category player. Plays for Smashers, a very good player, and he's a gold player as I see on the screen. So he's not a silver player. Can somebody confirm that? He's a gold player, so he's not silver player. So you may want to do your recalculation of your remaining points.
Ali's gold.
Ali's gold, okay. Moving on to the next, Houston Stallions. And they have picked, any guesses, is this a Stallions player or not? He's not Fawad. So, silver category number 4, Ali Hussain. Last time I actually said his nickname on air and he got mad at me afterwards, so I'm not gonna say it. It's Ali Hussain. It's the name that everyone calls him with. So Ali Hussain, ID 4, silver category player. Ali Hussain is his name, by the way. I don't know his nickname anymore. All right, this is shaping up to be a really good draft. All the teams are looking good. Let's move on to the next pick with Houston Stars. The guy who finished all the tea. So if you didn't get tea, talk to this guy. And they have picked a bronze category player, ID 124, Iftikhar Ahmed. Is that the same Iffi? Iftikhar Ahmed. And then we'll move on to Prime Gladiators. Yes, you are at 0, so you need to buy more points.
You can
come up here with your pick and announce how many points. And then just an announcement that with the last pick, UMMC Night Riders are now at -500, so they'll have to rebuy, which they will let us know how many coins are they rebuying, and then waiting on Prime Gladiators to announce their rebuy and the next pick. I think with the number of sponsors that they have, just by guessing, looking at the names on the shirt, you should buy like 15,000 points. Okay. So they're buying 5,000 points for $1,000. 5,000 points. Please give them a big. This should get the loudest of cheers, because this is everybody's money if you look at it. If you win the tournament,
that's the biggest buy from all the years.
And this is the biggest. Well, I don't know if it's the biggest buy because HPL 2 was crazy too, but this is the biggest buy since we've changed the structure of HPL and the buying strategy. But Prime Gladiators just bought $1,000 worth, 5,000 points, and with their next pick, they bought a silver category player, ID 39, Aditya Bala Subramanian.
ID 39?
ID 39 as it states on his little note here. And they get to go again because they just bought 5,000 points. We have UMMC Night Riders with minus 500 points, and then Houston Stars.
Houston Stars 500.
500 remaining points.
Stallion 1,000.
And Houston Stallions with 1,000 remaining points. You're not on the clock, but we're waiting on Prime Gladiators as they're on the clock. A lot of discussion going on with their team mentor. I don't know if he's a mentor slash player this year, Sushil. Not Kearney. Are you playing this year? That's how you say every year at the draft, and then you come up padded up as open. Is that how big players roll? I don't know about that. Maybe. So he's from no to maybe, and then on 4th of July he'll be padded up. And this year Ankit is not playing. He is their coach slash manager. He's an active coach on the youth circuit as well. So the next generation of cricketers, no fast bowlers, all leg spinners, off spinners, and on-side players. They're on the clock as their time is running out. You have very few seconds left, just about 70 seconds left. And may want someone fast to walk, so this time they didn't make Ankit walk here. We're taking a lot more seconds. And they have picked a very good player, ID 135, sitting right here doing the check for me, Ahmed Butt, 135 Prime Gladiators. A platinum player. So interesting to see a platinum player still remaining and getting picked in round 8. Congratulations to Prime Gladiators with that pick. With that, we move on to Houston Stars with only 500 crick coins remaining. And they decided to save those 500 points and pick an under 19 player, ID 176, Arham Khan, ID 176, under 19 player. So after, they still have 500 points remaining, and then we'll move on to the next pick, Houston Stallions. Again, excitement begins. Is it going to be a Stallions player or not? And they have decided to save their points for this round. They've picked an under 19 player. Does he play for Stallions? No, he doesn't. Give them a big round of applause. First non-Stallions player. ID 132, under 19 player, Hamza Khalid. And with that, we move on to the next pick for UMMC Night Riders. And before they come announce their next pick, they have to announce their rebuy, as they are already at minus 500, as Arpan Bhai diligently watches them and doing his Excel formulas and calculations. And they have decided to match with Prime Gladiators, and they have decided to buy 5,000 points for $1,000. 5,000 points rebuy, which essentially makes them at balance of 4,500 as they were minus 500 and they're on the clock. And they have picked ID 63, a quick check, is silver, category player, Khalid Munir. ID 63, Khalid Munir. Silver category player. Now before we go to the next round, I want to ask Sushil to come up here, have a word. He's been pretty quiet, just whispering in their team captain's ears. Sushil, look at the board. If so, can who threatens you the most on the other three teams? Who do you think is your fierce competitor?
Fierce competitor.
The team that will be
No, I think just from judging from last year's performance, the team that actually won the tournament, they really had some good players. So I think this year they'll be at it again. I thought they had some really good opening fast bowlers, which caught my wicket as well in the game, and they had a couple of.
Who was their fast bowler?
I don't know, the left arm fast. Yeah, and they had some good batters that could consolidate in the middle or provide some firepower. So decent, very good team actually. So I think they'll be formidable this year as well.
And then, not to make it any controversial, but since you're here putting in the spot, who threatens you the least, where you will just sit out your key players because this is just an easy game?
No team in particular threatens the least. I just encourage every team to bring their A game to the ground. But any team that has issues with players showing up or taking things too lightly on that day will find it tough in these situations. That's my experience. So I'm not can't really point out. It could be our team that shows up and is not ready to compete that day. But you can't predict these things. It's all in the mindset, the preparation, and the willingness to really play competitive cricket on that day that matters.
All right, Sushil, thank you very much. Always politically correct, never saying the name that may cause controversy, but dropping a hint that the team whose players coming in late. So, you know.
Before we move forward, let's look at the balance.
Okay, before we move to the next round, we'll ask Arpan Bhai again for the remaining balances.
Okay, so for Gladiators, after buying 5,000 additional points, the balance is 2,000, and the second point is you have not picked any under 19 players so far. Just a reminder.
Okay, so Prime Gladiators have 2,000 points remaining after their rebuy of 5,000 points, and another note of importance that Arpan Bhai mentioned, that they have not picked any under 19 player yet.
Okay. Moving on to Houston Stars. After round 8, they have a balance of 500, and they have made one under 19 pick.
Houston Stars with one under 19 player in their roster as of now, and still have 5,000 crick coins remaining.
500.
500 crick coins. Beg your pardon. 500 crick coins remaining. Balance.
Now coming to Stallions, they have a balance of 1,000 with one under 19 pick. Balance of 1,000 pick points, and they have picked one under 19 player so far. Stallions.
So Houston Stallions with one under 19 player in their squad and 1,000 crick coins remaining.
Yeah. And last but not the least, UMMC Night Riders. As of now, they have a balance of 3,500, and they have made one under 19 pick.
And UMMC Night Riders with one under 19 player picked and 3,500 crick coins remaining. Now I just got a word from Munir that we need to take a 3-minute quick break as we need to attend a few things on our roster. So we'll be back in 3 minutes. Thank you for your patience. Refresh yourselves with some snacks, and if you need tea, coffee, ask Talha to get it because he finished it.
We have Shuja Naqvi on the mic, and Shuja, the word is that you have been involved with the high performance aspect of CRICBASE. So do you just want to tell the folks who are live what will they get out of training at this facility, and what are the kind of memberships? Just as a player who plays in all the elite tournaments, what do you have to say to Houston cricketers?
So first of all, everyone, welcome to CRICBASE. We will be opening up very soon. Having been here for the past couple of weeks, it's an excellent facility with very detailed training. We have 4 bowling machines, so you can get a really specific cricket training completed over here. We have full run-ups over here, so for fast bowlers or spinners, you have enough space to get a good practice session in. We also have video analysis over here. You can get your sessions analyzed by either one of our onboard coaches, or you can get a copy of it that you can take home and analyze at your own convenience. I believe that's one of the biggest aspects of improving your game, is analyzing where you are going wrong and correcting those mistakes. So that's one of the biggest part of CRICBASE, along with our cricket-specific bowling machines. The bowling machines allow all the players to get any type of bowling they want. You can do in-swing, out-swing, in-cutters, out-cutters. You can do spin, leg spin, off-spin. It goes to speeds of from 50 miles per hour all the way to 100 miles per hour. Along with that, we also have a lounge section over here for parents and kids to watch their siblings or watch their teams practice on our TVs, or enjoy any live streaming games that are going on. If whoever is interested, we also have our coaching sessions over here. We have several academies that are working out from here, and then we also have a board of independent coaches that will be here in case anybody needs any sessions with them to get their games analyzed and improved on. I hope to see everyone come out to CRICBASE more often, and especially with the Houston weather and the upcoming hurricane season and the rainy session coming in. I think we should be able to see a lot of traffic over here and a lot of people coming over here and practicing, and consider this your own facility. So come at your own, please, and have a good time over here. So we are taking a little break during the HPL draft, where everyone gets to analyze what's upcoming, the players that are left in the draft, and finishing up the rounds for the draft and trying to pick the best team possible. It's gearing up to be a very competitive tournament for very well balanced teams. So it should be a good tournament on the July 4th to July 7th weekend in Houston, Texas. There will be live streaming for all the games as well, so enjoy a nice live stream if you cannot make it to Musa Stadium on that day. We also have a quick surprise. Mr. Arpan. Arpan is going to sing a couple of lines for us in the break to provide entertainment for all the crowd. Mr. Arpan. Round of applause for Mr. Arpan. Yes.
Time to get back to your seats.
I guess. We have a change of plan. We have the owners of Houston Star. Everybody became a fan of his singing, I believe, at the last banquet. So upon popular demand, we have Mr. Amir for a quick song over here.
तेनू इतना मैं प्यार करां एक पल विच 100 बार करां तू जावे जे मैनू छड़ के मौत दा इंतजार करां कि तेरे लिए दुनिया छोड़ दी है तुझ पे ही सांस आके रुके मैं तुझको कितना चाहता हूँ कि तू कभी सोच ना सके कुछ भी नहीं है ये जहां तू है तो है इसमें जिंदगी अब मुझको जाना है कहाँ के तू ही सफर है आखिरी कि तेरे लिए दुनिया छोड़ दी है तुझ पे ही सांस आके रुके मैं तुझको कितना चाहता हूँ कि तू कभी सोच ना सके
Thank you, Amir bhai. Excellent stuff once again. We may call you back for a repeat performance.
Thank you, Shuja. And again, beautiful singing by the owner, Amir Ahmed. I think that's his good luck charm as he sings and wins the tournament. We're gonna have a bigger night, a night with Amir Ahmed only singing with musicians and musical instruments. So I would like to request every team, management, owners, players to come and take their seats. And we have a couple of roster announcements, a couple of changes, minor changes, and I'll have Munir announce those. And before that, I'd like to ask my numbers and dollars and cents man, Mr. Mike Fuzzle, to please take your chair. And then Shuja and Ankit to please come and take their seats. And here we go. Please make these changes accordingly in your sheets, minor changes, but make the updates accordingly. Here you
go. So guys, given the sheer number of entries we get, and this year the registrations were not even open for a month, they were barely open for 10 days, but we got close to 200 entries. And from Wednesday to Friday, that's a serious overhead for the two of us, plus Urban Bhai to go over everything. So there were a couple of mishaps that we've just spotted. Number 29, Safiullah Fahim, is rated as bronze, but he is an under-19 player, and I can vouch for that. Number 28, Shaheed Memon, is also graded bronze, but he's also an under-19 player. And the reason why we are announcing this is, I think since we have this protocol of giving the under-19s an opportunity, and if there are two up-and-coming young boys who want to be part of the HPL, they shouldn't miss out just because of their categorization. So we'll quickly go through the tables and just check if you guys are okay with Safiullah Fahim and Shaheed Memon being graded under-19 at this point of time. Everyone is okay? Yeah, these two, I'll repeat, number 28, Shaikh Memon, and 29, Safiullah Fahim, are being taken out of the main draft pool as bronze players and being introduced into the under 19. So you can just cross them out on your list and just add them to the last page as under 19s.
Alright, I hope every team has made those updates for 2 bronze players moving into the under 19 category. Before we move in the next round, I just want to remind everyone of their points. And before we go through this, I want to go through the team's roster. So far we have the teams shaping up to be with UMMC Knight Riders, Janisar Khan, Jawad Khalid, Majid Rizvi, Jermaine Levine, Majid Zubair, under 19 pick, Alif Maradia, Rana Ali, and Khalid Munir. Next we have the Houston Stallions with Raj Singh, Ehsan Shah, Faraz Sheikh, Haris Qureshi, Ahmar Abbasi, Ikra Farooqi, Ali Hussain, and their under 19 pick of Hamza Khalid. Next we have Houston Stars, starting with the star Jaskaran Malhotra, Taha Sayyid, Adnan Haroon, Darvesh Ali, Shuja Naqvi, Abdul Rahim Khan, Iftikhar Ahmed, and their under 19 pick of Arham Khan. Last is Prime Gladiators, their team Siddesh Patare, Shayan Jahangir, Prashant Manne, Ahmed Fazal, Sankrit Batula, Rizwan Rajani, Aditya Balasubramaniam, and Ahmed Butt, with no under 19 players. So moving on to our next round, round 9, we have the UMMC Knight Riders on the clock. And they have picked silver category player. I'm sure this guy is watching, Waleed Ahmed, number 4, silver, Waldo. Because we have 2 Waleed Ahmed, this is the Waldo, Waleed Ahmed, number 4. A good pick in the 9th round. He's a good utility player. Moving on to the next, Houston Stallions. And they have picked ID 119, Moeed Ahmed. Moeed Ahmed. Shuja's favorite player, Moeed Ahmed. Silver category player, as Arpan Bhai mentions, Moeed Ahmed. Bronze player. Bronze player. Say silver on the screen. He's a silver player. I was correct. Moeed Ahmed, silver category player. All right, let's move on to the next Houston Stars with their pick in the 9th round. And they have picked their owner, finally, Amir Ahmed, ID 145 bronze. Amir Ahmed, the owner, captain, and the 9th round pick, a bronze player. And so this is where the team strategies come into play, where you've got all the platinum, mostly the platinum and gold players are gone. And this is where you pick your players who actually then win you the games when the going gets tough. All right, let's move on to the next pick of Prime Gladiators. And every time I call next pick Prime Gladiators, they look at me in shock and all, like, really? I think Dr. Sanjeev, you need to keep your captain in check. He's probably looking at the other list.
He needs some laughing gas.
He has the HPL list and then the HICC list and then a list that Sushil made before that, which is the final list that he's picking. And their next pick, their first under 19 player, which we just changed his category from bronze to under 19, is Saifullah. I don't know his last name on the slip, but it's Saifullah Fahim. Saifullah Fahim, under 19 player.
ID number?
ID number 29. Alright, so let's go through the balances one more time.
Yes, sir. After round 9, Gladiators balance 2,000 crick points with 1 under 19 pick.
So 2,000 crick points remaining for Gladiators with 1 under 19 pick.
Then going on to Houston Stars, your balance is 0 as of now, and you have 1 under 19.
Alright, we have another team that have burned out their points. Congratulations. This is what we like to see here at Punch. So 0 points for Houston Stars.
I'll give you one more. Stallions, your balance is 0.
Alright, another team with 0 points, Houston Stallions.
And you have 1 under 19 pick.
And they have 1 under 19 in their roster.
And finally, UMMC Night Riders, your balance is 2,500 crick points with 1 under 19 pick.
And with lastly, UMMC Night Riders with 2,500 points and 1 under 19 player. Alright, so let's start our round 10 with Prime Gladiators, again up on the clock. And that priceless expression on Sidesh's face, is it really me? He's running out of options. So we have one correction from the previous round. Mohid Ahmed was a bronze player and not a silver player. There was an incorrect data entry on our part. So Arpan Bhai will adjust the points, and so will Mike Fazal will adjust the points on the whiteboard. So Mohid Ahmed was bronze players, and in light of that, I believe Stallions still have some points remaining.
So with that, the Stallions
have 500
balance with correction, Mohid Ahmed bronze, not silver.
So Stallions have, with that correction, 500 crick points remaining and 1 under 19 player. Now moving on to the next pick, a very good pick from Prime Gladiators, ID 53, Amir Sayyed, a bronze category player, the fast left-arm fast bowler Amir Sayyed.
This is bronze, right?
He's a bronze player. This is where your homework comes into play, because we all know, remember that fast bowler, right arm, left arm, who plays for this team, and we don't remember their names, and all of a sudden when someone picks him, and then we're like, oh, I forgot his name, I didn't know his name. And I think UMMC was thinking the same thing along the same lines. Where was his name? And they probably confused that with Houston Stars owner Amir Ahmed. It's like, oh, Amir Ahmed bronze, Amir Sayyed bronze. Retired, outsider. Alright, so let's move on to the, scroll down if you would, so. The next pick with Houston Stars. And they were at 0 balance, so they are buying 1,500 crick coins. If you could please make a note, they are rebuying with 1,500 points. And their next pick is player ID number 24, Sohaib Haider. Player ID number 24, bronze, Sohaib Haider. Just a quick check on his category from Ahmed Butt. Is he bronze or silver?
Bronze.
He's bronze.
So I'm taking it bronze, not what silver it says here.
Yes. Moving on to Houston Stallions. Houston Stallions. Ali Hussain is here.
We don't know his nickname.
We don't know his nickname. Last time he got mad, so I just erased that name from my dictionary. And they have picked player ID 43, Salman Abbasi. Salman Abbasi, known for his good fielding, a very good young player, Salman Abbasi.
It's Salman Abbasi silver, right? What's up?
ID 43.
Yes.
And he's a silver category player, so we now officially have Houston Stallions run out of points.
So as of now, Stallions, you are negative 500.
Negative 500, and they just announced that they're rebuying 3,000 points.
3,000, okay.
They are rebuying 3,000 points. So with that last pick, they are at 2,500
Yeah, more than merrier. Please
balance. So I just want Prime Gladiators to rebuy one more time, because they still have 6 sponsors waiting in the parking lot.
Okay.
With their national colors of Bangladesh.
So we have finished 10 rounds, and
so after 10 rounds, the point balance.
Gladiators.
No, I mean we have one.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Mr. Majid. It's your turn.
We have the last pick of the 9th round before we go to the 10th round, and
This is the 10th round.
UMMC Knight Riders have picked silver category player ID 163, Farrukh Tariq. And now we have finished 10 rounds.
Farrukh Tahir, right?
Farrukh Tariq.
Tariq.
Silver.
Silver. 1 minute, sir. Manual data entry. Please bear with me. All right. So Control S. So Prime Gladiators balance 1,500 points after round 10.
So Prime Gladiators with 1,500 crick coins remaining.
Then we go to Houston Stars. 1,000 is the balance after round 10.
Houston Stars, after rebuying 1,500 points, they have 1,000 crick coins remaining.
Then I move to Stallions. After buying 3,000 points, their balance after round 10 is 2,500.
And Houston Stallions with 2,500 remaining points, they just rebought 3,000 crick coins.
And finally, UMMC Knight Riders, after round 10, your balance is 1,500.
And UMMC Knight Riders with 1,500 crick coins. Now let me take just a quick minute and have maybe Sakibai come up. Just wanna make our conversations more interesting. So if you could scroll up, so like you see the team. I know UMMC Knight Riders because you are the brand ambassador. Looks the favorite to win. Which team on the board you think is threatens you the most for this upcoming HPL?
I think when draft happens, you cannot choose one or two. Always you want to choose your own team. But if you look at other 3 teams that are equally balanced, especially Prime Gladiators has a really good force. When you look at Houston Stars, just from Malhotra is there. So at this time, Stallions, they've been playing together. So at this time, you really cannot pick a team. They all balance. Good thing when you have 4 teams, you can have good competition going on.
That's a good answer. Now turn the camera off. Tell me which team threatens you.
My answer is still the same.
Just kidding. Thank you, Sakibai. All right, so let's move on to before we move on to the next round, have a word with her.
So just a quick checkpoint. We said you're picking 11 local players and 3 under-19s. So it would be a good idea after round 10 to just make sure who has how many under-19s left and how many local players left, so that you know what you are doing for the next 3 rounds. So let's start with Night Riders. I'm seeing Majid Zubair as an under-19. Is Alif an under-19 player too? Okay, let's scroll down. Waleed? No. So Night Riders, Waleed under 35, yeah. Getting younger by the day. So Night Riders have picked just 1 under-19 player so far out of a total of 10. So can you scroll down? They made 10 picks. So they've got 2 local players to go and 2 under-19 players to go. Now let's have a look at Stallions. I think they have Hamza Khalid as their first under-19. Mohit Bhai doesn't qualify as an under-19. So they've got just 1 under-19 player and 9 local players. So Stallions also have 2 local players to go and 2 under-19s for your next 4 picks.
Yes. Every team has to pick 2 more under-19s for the next remaining 4 rounds.
So every team at this point has just 1 under-19? Is that what we are saying? Okay. That simplifies it. So 2 locals and 2 under-19s to go for all 4 of you.
So this year, certainly HPL is taking a big stride in promoting the youth to come forward and represent in these big tournaments. So we've increased the size for every team to have 3 under-19 players in their roster of 18, and 1 of those under-19 players must be in the playing 11. So that's a good initiative by Punch.
Under-19 is 0 value. No prize for under-19.
Yeah, and there is no points association or categorization for these under-19 players. So, you know, watching the youth cricket emerging in the last 2 or 3 years, it's been very refreshing to see a lot of under-19 players coming up. You know, like Majid Zubair and Owais Mubarak used to be an under-19 player, and Saad Humayi from Austin, and some of the local players that are under, you know, getting coached by these fine talented players in these various academies, starting from the the Trigger Schools and then Smart Choice Cricket Academy, and then Sushil is doing a fantastic job. So this year is going to be really good for these youngsters to come up forward and showcase their talents in this HPL tournament, and 1 player will be playing in the playing 11. So that's a fantastic initiative by HPL and Punch to promote these youngsters. So give them a big round of applause for the Punch team. So let's move on to the next round, number 11th round, and we have UMMC Night Riders. Each team has 2 under-19 and 2 local players, and they've made their second under-19 pick. Player ID number 116, Laksh Parekh. ID number 116, Laksh Parekh, under-19. Then we'll move on to Houston Stallions. Do you guys have an under-19 player in Houston Stallions?
Just 1.
Okay.
Yeah, man without nickname is the under-19.
The next player is their team owner, silver category player Fawad Sarwar.
What's the ID?
Under 19 20 years ago. 142 silver category Fawad Sarwar. Silver category. Moving on to Houston Stars, the next to pick, and they have picked an under-19 player, ID 156, Aryan Satish. ID 156, Aryan Satish, under-19 player. You should have the camera zoom on Sushil's face with every under-19 pick, because he either appreciates the pick or he just kind of, you know, nods his head in disbelief. Really, this player? I have so many players in my academy, and you pick this player? I was just joking, man.
I'll do it.
All right, so we move on to the next team. Again, shockingly, Siddesh, you're out. And they have picked an under 19 player, Sri Pare. Is that how I pronounce the name? Sri Pare, under 19 player.
ID.
I don't have the ID on my
52.
52.
Okay,
So this round, 3 teams picked under 19. So now
let's look at the balance.
we can look at the balance again.
So Gladiators, they have a balance of 1,500.
Gladiators with 1,500 crick coins remaining. And they have already picked 2 under 19 players. So they have 1 under 19 and 2 local players remaining with 1,500 crick coins.
Houston Stars, balance of 1,000 with 2 under 19 picks.
Houston Stars with 1,000 crick coins remaining, 2 under 19 players picked, 1 more to go, and 2 local players. 1,000 crick coins remaining.
Stallions, balance of 1,500 with 1 under 19 pick.
Houston Stallions with 1,500 points remaining, 1 under 19 player picked, so they have 2 more under 19 to go and 1 local player.
And finally, UMMC Night Riders, balance of 1,500 with 2 under 19 picks.
And UMMC Night Riders with 2 under 19 players in their squad, so they have 1 more under 19 and 2 locals to go and 1,500 crick coins remaining. Thank you, Arpan Bhai. So far, a fantastic job by all the teams in picking their teams, and this is going to be certainly a very good competition starting on the 4th of July weekend. So let's move on to round 12 with Prime Gladiators on the clock. And they have picked ID 74 Neeraj Dheer. I don't have his categorization here, but Ahmed Bhatt can confirm. He's silver. Quick check.
Gold. It is gold in the system, right?
Gold. I mean, it's gold with me.
So it's gold in the system.
We'll just go with the sheet because that's what
The
we've
sheet is
gone.
not the team on
The
it.
sheet is 1,500.
Ahmed Bhatt is going to confirm that. Neeraj Dheer, 74 silver category player. Silver category player. Neeraj Dheer, I don't know if everyone's familiar with that. So he's a pretty good utility player. He's been the best bowler in T20 cricket last year. All right, and people take him easy when he comes to bowl because he's short, maybe 4 feet 5 inches or something around in that neighborhood. And he comes in, people think he's just an ordinary bowler. He comes and takes a lot of wickets and was the best bowler in T20. So he's taken he's gotten Mike Fuzzle out a lot of times too. Let's move on to the next pick with Houston Stars. And they have picked the guy who finished all our T, ID 128, Talha Merchant, bronze player. Talha Merchant, bronze player. Next up is Houston Stallions. Houston Stallions table looks very busy.
By the time
Everybody's here.
Yeah, that's what. By the time the draft is over, there's squad
They didn't get the memo about the time we were going to start the draft and how many players were allowed on the table. as they're flipping the pages, figuring out what to do. Too many chefs in the kitchen. A lot of disagreements. Who's got the last word? Is it Ali Hussain with no nickname, or is it the owner Fawad Server? Or is it Faraz Sheikh, the silent assassin?
Today, 10 seconds.
You know, you can always ask Sushil for under 19 help. They have picked an under 19 player, ID 56 Zarq Khan. ID 56 Zarq Khan, under 19 player. And now we'll move on to UMMC Night Riders. They're on the clock, 12th round. 2 more rounds to go after this. They have 2 under 19 players in their squad, 1 more to go, and then 2 local players. And they are ready with their pick, and they have made their last under 19 pick. Player ID 155. Shreyan Satish, under 19. So they are done with their under 19 roster with 3 players. Shreyan Satish, ID 155, under 19. With 2 more players to go, can they?
So is this a quick check on the balances?
Let's do a quick check on the remaining balances.
After round 12, Gladiators have 2 under 19 picks and a balance of 500 points.
Prime Gladiators with 2 under 19 picks, 500 remaining crick coins, 500 remaining crick coins, and they still have 1 more under 19 player to go.
Houston Stars, after round 12, have 2 under 19 picks and a balance of 500 points.
All right, Houston Stars with the same amount of crick coins left, 500, with 202 under 19 players already on their squad. So 1 more to go and 1 local player. 2 rounds to go.
And now, coming to Stallions, they have a balance of 1,500 with 2 under 19 picks.
Houston Stallions with 2 under 19 players on their squad and 1,500 crick coins remaining. Houston Stallions.
And finally, Night Riders. After round 12, they have made all their 3 under 19 picks and they have a balance of 1,500.
And UMMC Night Riders, they have made all their under 19 picks, so they have 2 more local players to go and 1,500 crick coins remaining. 1,500 crick coins, and they've made all their under 19 picks. So let's move on to our second to last round, round 13. And we have UMMC Night Riders on the clock. And they have picked a silver category player, ID 139, Ayub Tanveer, the left arm spinner. Ayub Tanveer, ID 139, silver player. Shuja. All right, moving on to the next team with their 13th pick, Houston Stallions. They have 1 under 19 player remaining and 1 local player. Again, a big discussion going on. And we should shift the camera because probably people want to see that excitement. No fist fights so far. And they have picked a silver category player, ID 120, Ali Bangash. not here. His brother Ali Bangash is here. ID 120 silver category player Ali Bangash. A very good pick in the 13th round. Congratulations. And moving on to Houston Stars. Go back to the previous screen. Okay, so this is ID 26 Zarq Khan with an X. That's what I was checking. He's bronze. I just want to make sure that these are two separate players, Zarq Khan and Zarq Khan.
Zarq Khan is KCC player under 19 and Zarq Khan is Star player.
All right, so they've picked Zarq Khan, 26 ID bronze player.
The other one, the number 56 is spelled with a C, right?
Yes.
One is Zarq Khan.
26 is our.
That is under 19 player, right? 56 is under 19, right?
Yes, 56 under 19.
Behind the camera?
Next up is Prime Gladiators, and they have their back-to-back picks to finish up their team for round. And they have one under 19 player yet to be picked, and one local player. And they have picked, quick check on his category, Sridhar from Cavaliers, ID 127. A really good pick for round 13. Sridhar Rajaram. He is a gold player as per the screen. Just want to confirm with what's on the sheet. Sridhar. On the sheet, it's a silver player, Sridhar Rajaram, ID 127.
With this, one quick announcement: Gladiators, they are minus 500.
So with that, congratulations again to Prime Gladiators. They've run out with their crick coins again, so they're at minus 500. This is everyone's money, by the way, so everybody's very happy with that pick.
Okay, so with this we have a quick announcement on the balance, then we can move forward. So with this end of round 13, Gladiators, they are balance of negative 500, and they have made 2 under 19 picks.
So Gladiators have got one more under 19 pick to go, and you're at minus 500, and you've purchased more points right now. Okay. Sadesh comes with an open checkbook. He's always on the WhatsApp group with his sponsor, so not a concern.
Okay. Now moving on to Houston Stars. As of now, they have exhausted all their points. Their balance is 0, but they have only one under 19 pick to on the final round.
So Stars are into the last round with just one final under 19 pick to make, and their balance is 0 at this point. So they don't need to purchase additional points because under 19 players are free.
Okay, and Stallions, they have a balance of 500, and only they have to not mandatorily made the under 19 pick because this is the last one. They have
So-
under 19 to go and 500 is the balance.
So Stallions with 500 points to go, positive balance of 500, and one last under 19 pick remaining. So they'll probably reserve that 500 points, but that's something we'll just discuss right now. I'll come to that.
For next year.
And last but not the least, UMMC Night Riders, they have made all their under 19 picks, and they are going into the final round with a balance of 500.
So positive 500, they've finished their under 19 picks. So the break-even option would be to just pick a bronze player, but knowing Majid, I don't think he's going to go that route. Especially with Saki Bhai sitting next to him and Rizwan Bhai on call, it's not going to happen. So that kind of wraps up the situation for the last round. Now, something we might want to reiterate from last year, there were a lot of franchises last year who opted to not go for their full quota of 4 outside players, which is perfectly okay. You can even play one mandatory. It's not mandatory to have 3 outside players in your roster at any time, but if you think you can replace that outside player with a local player, well and good, you can give a local player a chance. Because out of the 56 players we are picking today, 12 are under 19, so only 42 local players get drafted. So if you want to give the opportunity to additional local players, that's very good. It only comes at the expense of one less outside player. It's your decision to make. It goes against their points, so even if you pick a bronze player, you'll pay 500 points for that. So no exception to that rule. Next up, I think it's a good point to just recircle. And so this list was sent out on Wednesday, the raw dump from the website. And what really happens is there are a lot of players, they are probably filling the registration form in a haste. They tend to really misenter a lot of information. We tried to scrutinize everything and get everything correct. But since we had just one day to do everything, it's been brought to our attention there are some more errors in the list. We are not entertaining adult players, but for under 19s, I think it totally makes sense to not omit any under 19s if they're graded as bronze and silver and they're under 19s. We want to give them an opportunity. So, an open forum, are you seeing any under 19s who are missing right now? They're free players, it's perfectly okay to add them to your rosters and groom them for future HPLs. So anyone is seeing an under 19 you have your eyes on and he's graded as a bronze or silver or any other category? What's the number? As per Sadesh, Karthik Kattaballi, number 132, is an under 19 player. He might have entered himself as a bronze, or maybe that's a typo on our part. We cannot be sure at this point. But we'll bring him back into the under 19 pool if that's okay with everyone. Seems to be. Any other under 19s which you think are an error on our part, or probably an entry from the player? Shaikh is under 19. Shaikh Memin is under 19. So I think that should wrap it up. This was kind of an open mic, so we are not seeing any further concerns. We'll move on to the last round, and if there is a 15th, only for the teams who choose to not go the outside player route and get additional local players.
Thank you, Munir. And I think it's important that we identify the players who've been labeled as a bronze category or silver, but they are truly under 19, just to give them maximum opportunities to get picked. Otherwise, they might not get picked if they're classified as bronze. So one of the corrections that Siddesh pointed out was for Karthik, and he's an under 19 player. And I do want to mention what a great job some of these academies are doing. I may have missed some names, and I don't want to, not take their names. So one of them, the academy that Sushil coaches, is Master Stroke. Then we have the KT Youth Smart Choice Cricket Academy, Trigger Coles, and Sugarland Youth Cricket Club or Academy. So again, a fantastic job by all these youth academies, and I may have again missed some of the youth academies, but these are the most prominent ones who are really preparing the next generation of cricketers who's going to serve Houston cricket for many, many years. So thank you to all the academies and the coaches for doing a fantastic job. Alright, so moving on to the last round, this pick will sum it up for Prime Gladiators, and they have one under 19 pick remaining. So, and this pick is their under 19 player, which we just corrected, is Karthik Ghattabali. Did I say that right? The second one.
This is 162, number 162, right?
Something important that Munir mentioned, that it is not mandatory for any club to pick 4 outside players for their roster. If you want to pick a local player, you certainly can. It will go against your points. And just highlighting that point, that some teams might be thinking that we have to pick 4 outside players to complete the roster, and that is not true. You can have any number of outside players and have local players in place of outside players. So next, we move on after we make the under 19 pick, and that sums it up for Prime Gladiators. Their roster has done good job, Prime Gladiators, with this draft. Next, we move on to Houston Stars with their last pick. And they have picked their last under 19 player, ID 28, Shaikh Memon. Shaikh Memon, under 19, a very good player. And then next, to complete their roster, Houston Stallions. They have to pick an under 19 player, and that's why they're consulting with the coach from Master Stroke, Sushil. Zain Naqvi, I heard, is one of the options for under 19 player. Did Zain name his son Zain Naqvi too? As I look around, every team looks very happy and excited with what they have picked. The real problem starts when they step on the field and how they perform. And with their last under 19 pick, they have picked ID 160-160 Munib Hashmi. Their last under 19 pick, Munib Hashmi, ID 160. So again, congratulations to Houston Stallions for completing the roster. We'll go over the teams. Now we'll move on to UMMC Knight Riders. They have picked all their Save the best for the last. They have picked a bronze category player, 19, Tariq Ghaziani. Loudest of the cheers for Tariq Ghaziani. And he's bronze. So that completes the round of 14. Now, as we mentioned, you can still pick a local player if you choose not to get your allotted quota of 4 outside players. So I believe, so they have one more local player to pick in place of their outside player. Houston Stallions. Instead of 4 outside players, they'll go with 1 less. And with every other team looks to be done with their rosters, meaning they have decided as of now that they will field 4 outside players in their roster. And for Houston Stallions, they are picking 1 additional local player. And they have picked ID 41 Sunny Nadeem. He's sitting right here, ID 41 Sunny Nadeem. Bronze. So before, during one of the breaks, we announced that it probably is a good idea if teams are willing and open to revealing some one or few of their outside players that are in the works, because it just creates excitement for the players. And so the guy who suggested that idea, I'd like to ask him first to come and reveal their outside players. And so that will give encouragement to every other team to come up and name their names. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's a great idea. And you should be pioneering this idea and lead from the front. Is everybody okay? They have 2 outside players to name. That's fine. And stars would be okay too. And they're okay. And Houston Stallions will announce 1 or 2 of their outside players. Let's start with, yeah. So we'll have, let's hear the teams with their outside players, and this is going to create a lot of excitement to know, because you know this. I would encourage to give all teams if you have it, but it's fine. 2 is fine.
There's no suspense. The third one's not confirmed.
Okay, so name. Let's put the confirmed names.
Suspense bata do.
Okay, who's the first one? Let them go.
You are the first one, sir. Great ideas are always implemented by the person who generates these ideas. So this was your idea on air. I'll let you take the mic.
Okay, the first one we're taking is the Rayan Pathan. He has played 1 ODI from Canada. He's all-rounder, so he's our first choice.
Alright, Sakibai wants to have this announced in a draft fashion. So because it was a snake draft, you're up next again. Let's have the Prime Gladiators announced. Why don't you stay here, Sakibai, so we can just rotate. I don't want you to walk.
Alright, our first outside player is going to be Gaurav Bajaj. He's coming from Washington.
Gaurav Bajaj, a very known personality in Houston Cricket League. A very fine all-rounder. And then we'll have Taha from Houston Stars.
Our outside player, Sean Finley.
Sean Finley, nobody knows better Sean Finley than the smart choice for Riders. And we'll have Houston Stallions announce their outside player. And their outside player is Mr. Nikurma Bonner, who played for UMMC Knight Riders. A very good outside player pick. Let's move on to UMMC Knight Riders.
Our next outside player is Kejon Otley. When you look at Kejon Otley, he reminds of Sushil. He makes and plays all. So he has played for Smart Trends USA, and he has played for combined campuses and colleges Trinidad, University of West Indies, and uprising player from Trinidad.
All right, Sushil, do you know this name, Kejon Otley? Who he reminds Sakiba of you? No, he doesn't know. Okay. He's a cricketer, right? Not a baseball player. Or the next one is Prime Gladiators. They've announced Gaurav Bajaj as their first outside player.
Our second is Ocean Walters. He's coming from Jamaica. So that's our second outside.
Right, Ocean Walters from Jamaica. And then moving on to Houston Stars. Some exciting names coming up.
Second one is Mohammad Farooq Bhai from Dallas.
Another very good player, Mohammad Farooq, plays in Houston Cricket League. And then moving on to Houston Stallions, their second outside player is Yasir Hamid, a well-known cricketer from Pakistan who's played Test cricket and one-day cricket. Do you have any more to announce, or you want to? I have 3 from Houston Stallions. Everybody's ready.
I think we're done with 2, right? The third is not confirmed, but
Tentative Shosha.
By the way, like third player which is not confirmed, announce and like we have option, we can announce it.
We're not logging this in your roster.
okay.
This is for the live.
Our star player will be Jonathan Charles. As you guys know, he has played for Multan Sultan, Jamaica Talwa, St. Lucia, and a lot of first class and ODI. So Jonathan Charles, wicketkeeper batsman.
It's Johnson Charles, not Jonathan Charles, if I'm not mistaken. He's played Johnson Charles. So along with the fine franchises that he mentioned, he's going to be part of another fine franchise, UMMC Knight Riders. Congratulations, UMMC Knight Riders. Moving on to Prime Gladiators with their third pick.
Our third possible is Milan Kumar. He's coming from India. He plays for Sikkim and was currently in Royal Challengers Bangalore IPL squad.
Right, congratulations, Milan Kumar. Everyone knows Milan Kumar. He's played some local cricket here with Houston India Cricket Club, a very fine batsman. And if I remember correctly, in one of the Central West CUPL, he scored a double 100. Is that correct? In a T20? Scored a double 100. Milan Kumar, part of the Royal Challengers Bangalore squad, this IPL recently concluded. All right, and moving on to the next Houston Stars, what's their third possibility?
Possibility is Shan Masood from Pakistan.
Shan Masood from Pakistan, another current Test player. And then for Houston Stallions, another possibility, a very well-known name in international cricket, is Omar Gul. Congratulations to all the teams. I think you guys have done a fantastic job by picking your teams. And again, I didn't want to put anybody on the spot, but every team on the board is looking great. Any team can win this 2019 edition of HPL. There are a lot of good players, a lot of good coaches, and a lot of well-known outside players. So let the game begins on July 4th. Again, I want to thank all my Punch team, Ahmed Butt, Shujan Naqvi, who's helping today, Munir Majid, founding member of Punch, Arpan Matle, recently added to our Punch team, and then also Sidesh Padare, founding member, and Mike Fazal, who's helping us today with the board and dealing with this business, and then also Saud, who stepped out, recently added to Houston Punch Group. Thank you so much, and this concludes our draft. Thank you again.
For all the franchisees, so for Gladiators, you have, may I have your attention please? For Gladiators, please make payments for 5,500 points. UMMC Knight Riders for 5,000 prick points. Houston Stars for 1,500 points, and Stallions for 3,000 crick points. And the way it works is every $100 gets you 500 crick points. So I'll leave the mat to you. At least do a little bit of brain tickling and get your checks. Thank you very much.
Now we are just about 5 minutes from wrapping up today's draft. I think all the rosters look super good. Opportunity to call all the team owners and captains one by one and get your review as to how the draft went for you. What were the things you really excelled in, and what was the part you would have liked better if given a new chance? So first I'll call Majid Rizvi. He's really logged in on his laptop, still doing. Last year, you guys were the finalists and you looked the strongest team in the tournament through and through, with Bonner, Naveen Stewart, yourself, everyone, Usman Rafiq playing so good. Do you think you can replicate last year's performance and go one level up with the team you've got right now?
Definitely, that's what the plan is. I think we had a really good team last year. We did good, came to the finals, just wasn't our day. We sat together in the think tank and we came up with a few changes that we learned from last year. And I guess those changes have exactly gone as per the plan, because there's not even a single player in the list of 15 we picked that was not already on our list. So that was one of the success of part of my think tank, is that everybody we selected, we didn't go through the list last minute, we already had those names out for us. So hopefully this turns out to be a good tournament and action cricket.
And in terms of the think tank, it used to be you, Jawad, Majid. Now you've got a major conspirator in your lineup. So what does Red bring to the table, and what's his role with Knight Riders this year? And was he part of the strategy you came up with and the homework you did before coming to the drafts?
Of course, I actually reached out to Abdul Red last year for the same management duties. With his experience, unfortunately, he was part of the management for HPL and the umpiring, and that was one of the reasons he could not be part of our team. But this year, I reached back out to him because I know his skill level and what he brings on the table. And just like you said, yes, he was part of the think tank meeting. He played a fundamental role by knowing the players, utilizing those players in certain position and making sure we get those in the draft. So he brings a lot. He's going to be leading our management side for the team.
Really good to know that the franchises are developing into teams which have proper management and a think tank. Now, in terms of the ongoing drafts, was there a cold war with any of the teams and little eye stares as you get to each round? You've got Sudesh to your right, Amir and team to your left, and Stallions here. Which team was neck and neck and they were really going after the players you had in mind?
I think actually this year it was I didn't see too much neck to neck, I believe, because they were down to 4 teams. So there was a much wider choice to draft players from the available roster. So
last year, apart from being a player in the pre-drafted group, are you also part of the think tank and you strategize with Amir as to who are the players you're going after?
Yes, definitely. Amir Bhai has always included me and quite a bit of a part of his thought process.
Now, to be honest, with all due respect, Stars came out of nowhere. They kind of blew the HPL away last year. The first game, they lost by a big margin, and a lot of audience were not giving them a serious chance to go all the way. You did. You won the championship, and Shai and Jahangir fired. You were a constant performer through the tournament. Now, going into this year's HPL, there were a lot of outside players. I'm pretty sure they were reaching out to you guys that we want to come down and play for Stars. And you finally have Shan Masood. So, who were the players who were within that circle you were looking at, and how did the Shan Masood deal work out? Because this is huge for Houston Cricket League. He's Pakistan's test match opener. He's been playing for them for the past few years. So, an active test player coming and playing at a turf wicket, I think this is a major breakthrough. So how did you guys pull that off?
Actually, we do have a guy in our squad who's very close to all the Pakistani domestic players, and it's not a big of an issue for us to get a player from Pakistan domestic or international. And we've had Ramiz Raja Jr., he was one of our picks. We had one more guy, I forgot, but Shan Masood was also available, but still, we're tentative about him. But he's most probably he will be available for it, and depending on the visas and everything, if everything goes through, then he's going to be probably our best pick.
Overall, you guys are happy with what you've done today, no regrets. I think everything went to plan.
I think, yeah, 98% went to plan. One player under 19, we were iffy about, but was picked by somebody else. But other than that, I think we picked all the players that we wanted.
Awesome, Taha and Amir and the rest of the Stars team. Big congratulations to you for having a successful draft, and we will look forward to seeing you play at the HPL 2019. Now our fellow companions from the Bangladesh national team, Sidesh and Co. And we also would like to call Ankit and Dr. Sanjeev onto the mic. So, Sidesh, a lot of thinking goes in behind the scenes into this franchise. You guys have a big pool of people who are doing the thinking for you, but that's just the sponsorship side. When it comes to the players, who is responsible for identifying and devising that strategy on draft day? And is it just that you're looking at yourself and your targets, or you play scenarios that this team may go after this player, so this is our backup? What's the chessboard you're doing here?
At least this year's standpoint, the draft, me and Ankit were discussing a lot about players whom we want to target, specific to the roles. Sushil was there from the under-19 standpoint as to whom we need to target for the under-19 spot. But with the possible outside players and our 3 lock players, we knew we did not want to go for a lot of batsmen in our draft today. So if you see, we've gone for more fast bowlers and spinners to make the draft complete. So that was the think tank. Obviously, there was an interesting factor with other franchise guys picking some players whom we were targeting, but that's possibly the fun of this draft, snake draft, as you have. So I think overall we have a good squad in hand, and we should do good this year.
And Ankit, this is, I think, the first time the HPL is going to a long weekend format, 4 days straight of cricket. So for local players playing in the July heat with back-to-back games, what's the advice you can give as a senior player and a mentor, that how can they prepare for the next month, and what kind of challenges this format is going to pose for the local players especially?
I think the main concern will be the fitness of the players to play the whole 4-day weekend. I believe it's minimum of 6 games per team or 8 games per team if they qualify for playoffs and stuff. Staying hydrated is the most important thing that probably works for all the fit players over here. When you used to play 4 days continuous, you need to start hydrating from like 4 days before or 5 days before the tournament starts, and obviously from the beginning of June actually, you need to start keeping yourself fit for this tournament. It's going to help out.
Any alcoholic hydration recommendations, or it's just pure and simple water, good old?
That's for our sponsors to think about.
No, I don't think there'll be any alcohol in the thing.
Sanjeev, you're back again with Gladiators, and you've been a long-term supporter. How's the dynamics within the team, and what brings you back to this franchise every year?
Well, it's a great franchise. We've got a lot of support. Actually, this year, Ankit has come on board, and we got a lot of support every year, and the support keeps growing. So I see a lot of potential for the team going forward. We've already got a lot of sponsors, and we've got a lot more support. So it's looking really positive, and I think it's going to carry on as a brand for a long time to come.
Overall, you guys are happy with the way the draft was organized and the facility, getting positive vibes for HPL 2019, that we can make it bigger and better than ever?
I think you're doing a great job already. Obviously, this is a great facility too. I mean, it's a new facility, and so things looking positive as the years are going by. I remember the first time we organized Punch. From then onwards, it's looking very positive. It's actually going more and more. It's actually getting better by the year. So hopefully next time it's going to be even more bigger and better.
Actually, it's a great job giving local guys a big opportunity to see the big level that they cannot see in their weekly HCL cricket. And I think this is a great opportunity, and Punch is doing a great job for them to being allowed to come into the draft and in big numbers. And this weekend tournament is going to basically give them an analysis of where they are going to stand in the scheme of things compared to HCL cricket, and taking it a couple of steps above.
Awesome. Thank you guys for the comments and wish you all the best. May this be the year Gladiators finally goes all the way. Now, I'll pass this on to Himani Bhai to call upon the guys from Stallions and get their thoughts in.
So we only have two guys left. I wanted to call Ali Hussain and maybe Ehsan Shah to come up here for. So Ali Hussain, you've been part of Houston Premier League for many years as a player. This is kind of your team, Houston Stallions team. So what was the strategy going into the draft in terms of what kind of players you wanted to pick, and what's the overall goal for this year's HPL from your team's perspective?
Thank you, Manibhai. First of all, congratulations on another upcoming awesome event. Hopefully this will go even more successful compared to last tournaments. Our strategy was very simple. We actually wanted to promote, I guess, a better level of cricket within our own club. As you can see that most of our guys, they represent the Houston Stallions anyway. So we wanted to do that, but also making sure that we have enough players to compete on this level. So that's why you see the outsiders that we have in the team. Hopefully, they will get us through. Being this our debut HPL as a team, but overall most of our players have played for HPL many years, like you said. So pretty much it. Just compete at a good level, try to promote cricket within the club.
Now, historically, as we've seen, HPL has been a very high-scoring affair because we play on these concrete pitches. Now, this year, things might change because we've moved to Musa, which is more natural turf now. What would be your strategy in terms of for every team going into this HPL? Do you think the spinners may have an important role to play, or some medium-pace bowlers going into the tournament?
That's a good question. I mean, I personally haven't played at Musa that much, maybe one game or two games here and there. But what it seems like that the ball stays low on that wicket. So definitely, I don't think the scores will be like the last HPL where every team was scoring 200 plus runs, and in the final Stars were able to chase 220 odd runs. As far as the strategy is concerned, I guess we'll maybe what we were thinking about is maybe having a practice session at I think PV has one of the turf fields, so maybe have a practice session over there and get the guys the feel for how it likes to play on the turf. But yeah, I mean, ball comes slow, so just don't go for it. Take your time, settle down, and I guess bowlers will play a critical part. And us having Bonner, Ali Lala, and Faraz on the side, I think they'll definitely help us a lot. It's a very strong spin unit that we have. So hopefully, we'll have a good time.
Now you are everybody excited in the room with your potential announcement of outside players with Yasir Hamid, who's come and played before, and then potentially Umar Gul. Now, what do you think in terms of having this mix of local and outside players to come and play? Do you think it kind of helps and boosts cricket especially for these tournaments, or do you think more local players should be given the exposure?
I guess people might debate on that, but the thing is, if you want to promote these kind of events at a better level, you got to have the international players in it, because that way, people follow more, and more people, join even on the field, or as an spectators, or by people watching live. So definitely big names like Shan Masood, for instance, and then they have 3 players who play in West Indies or Jamaica, and then we have possible Umar Gul, and then Bonner, in Yasir Hamid also.
So it's a good, I guess, thing to have them in the team because you get to learn from them, definitely, and they give you that experience that you need at a bigger level. Because a lot of times, us as local players, you get stuck in one of those situations where it's a nail biter, and then things can go either way. That's where the international players come in, and they guide us in the right direction. And Yasir Hamid being a really good batsman for Pakistan, and in the past, I think it will be a great help.
Thank you, Ali. We wish you all the best for this year's HPL. Congratulations on your team.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap up.
There we have it. We have the 4 teams. The draft is concluded. We've got some exciting cricket coming up. Stay tuned for our live broadcast of matches from Musa Stadium, Houston Premier League. The games start on July 4th. Thank you very much.
Let's go.